Welcome to another exciting episode of Extraordinary Ordinary Women. And I'm Margarita, and I'm excited to be able to share with you stories of ordinary women, women in our community, perhaps even your next door neighbour, women who have had a dream or an idea and followed it through to fruition. Their stories will encourage you, uplift you, and hopefully inspire the seeds of greatness within your heart. For it's through sharing that we come to realize that we are not Robinson Crusoe, all alone on our own little island, but that there is, particularly now with social media, a network of truly amazing women, women who willingly stretch out their hand with encouragement. Having found this for myself when my life was turned upside down, it is my gift to those women to be able to pay forward the gift of encouragement to others. So, without further ado, I am delighted, after navigating much technological issues tonight, I'm delighted to welcome Kim Harvey. Kim's
I'm
story.
the one that I was technically challenged, not you.
I think we both were, Kim. Now, Kim's story is one that reminds us that sometimes the greatest acts of courage happen quietly behind the scenes. When Kim Harvey became a mother, she could never have imagined the journey that lay ahead. Her son Nathan was born with significant challenges, yet from a very young age, he possessed an unwavering determination to live life on his own terms. One gutsy young fellow. While many expected him to follow a path designed for people with disabilities, Nathan had a different vision. He wanted to compete alongside everyone else, not because it was easier, but because that's where he
Because
believed.
he stole my horse.
Because he stole your horse, and that's where he believed he belonged, in the ring with all the others. So together, Kim and Nathan entered the highly competitive world of horses and dressage, a world that would bring extraordinary opportunities, but also heartbreaking obstacles. There were moments of rejection, misunderstanding, and bullying that would have caused many families to just simply walk away. Instead, gutsy Nathan and Kim chose perseverance. Now, Nathan has since become a Special Olympics gold medalist, earning the respect of fellow competitors, coaches, and sponsors from literally around the world. Nathan represented Australia at the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, where he won not one, but 2 gold medals and 1 bronze. Yet medals tell only part of the story. Well, behind every achievement was a mother who refused to let circumstances define her son, and a son whose courage would eventually become a source of strength for his mother when she faced one of life's greatest challenges, her own battle with cancer. And today we're not simply talking about horses or competitions. We're talking about resilience, belonging, courage, and the extraordinary bond between a mother and son who have continually lifted one another through life's most difficult seasons. So, Kim, welcome
That's so
to
cute.
Extraordinary Ordinary Women, and thank you so much for joining us to share your story.
You're welcome. I didn't realize until you were talking then that Nathan needed me so much. And then when I needed him, he grew up and now he's my lifeline.
Well, I remember in one of our previous discussions, excuse me, with all of our technical problems joining up tonight, I completely forgot to turn my phone off, so it's off now. Yes, in one of our previous discussions, you mentioned something like that. You mentioned that, and that was mind blowing. It was really mind blowing. So we'll share. I do ask you about that later on. So, Kim, before we dive into your story, please tell us where you're joining us from today.
I'm at home in Buckley, Victoria.
Aha, because Zoom, we can join from all over the world, can't we? It's lovely.
I hope so.
So, how it all started, Kim. Take us back to the beginning. What was Nathan like as a little boy? I understand that horses were a part of his life early on.
Well, when he was very small, and he was crawling backwards, and he wouldn't crawl forwards. He never made any baby noises. He never. He seemed emotionless, nothing. So I took him to a doctor who told me that I have to admit him into a home for the disabled. And so I just walked out, ripped up the bill, and put in the garbage and never went back. And went to another doctor who told me that Nathan was autistic and that he's going to have a pretty hard time getting through life. And I thought, no, he's not, because if he knows to go to the fridge for something to drink, his brain is telling him that. And I said to him, if you want a drink of milk, you make the sound M. Mm. If you don't do that, you only get water. And he loved peanut butter sandwiches. If you want a peanut butter sandwich, you'd go P. If you don't go P, you just get butter and bread. Didn't take long before he started trying to make sounds, but he never said the words clearly, but he did try, so he got his reward. Then one day when he was about 4 or 5, was his birthday party, and I couldn't find him anywhere because he hid from people. I went down the stable. He's had a little black pony. He's lying down underneath his belly, tickling him, talking as clear as you and I. He just didn't have the courage to do that in front of people. So I put him into public speaking. And the first few times he went on the stage, he just stood there with tears rolling down his eyes. And I was out the back too with tears down my eyes. But when he came out, I had to be tough. And so the fourth time he went, he said, my name of my dog is Wolfie. And everyone stood up and gave him a standing ovation. So, because it was the same people in the same club. And now he's a master of ceremonies. He has his own disco business. He does weddings. He does horse events over the microphone. And he advocates now for people with a disability. You don't need to stay hidden anymore. Come out.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask you, I'm assuming that episode in the stable where you said he was there with his horse tickling his tummy, that was the little story about Tommy the horse?
Yeah.
Yes. So when did you first realize that horses were his goal in life, that he didn't want to be left there with in the disabled
in their homes where they just build blocks? That's where they wanted him to go.
Yes, but he was riding the horses, and you were telling me that he didn't want to stay with the riding for the disabled. He wanted to be out there with.
Because I rode professionally and taught professionally all over New Zealand, Japan, where else? Norfolk, I can't remember. And I taught. I taught instructors to be instructors. So he was at my hip the whole time. And when we were at home one day, he jumped up on a fence on top of my dressage horse that was 17 hands tall, called Grubby. It's very quiet, with just a head collar on, because he didn't know how to put everything else on. I nearly had a heart attack.
Yes,
So
you.
after that, I saddled the horse up for him and started teaching him how to ride. And I didn't let him ride with the disabled. I put him in open Australian events, Equestrian Australia. And he came last for about 10 years, and by a long way. But he learned, because I said it's not against the other people. You're learning from those people and your mistakes. And so you keep the courage to keep doing that. But it wasn't his only obstacle why he was coming last. There were so many bullies within the para industry, within the riding industry, but mainly in Queensland. They like, and I shouldn't say that, I should have said just one state, but yes, it was that state. And it wasn't just the riders, it was the officials. They didn't want him out in the open with all the beautiful people and their $100,000 horses. So Robbie had to retire, and we got him a beautiful black stallion named Dom, who took him all the way through to grade 5 para, which is equivalent to advanced dressage horse, ready to start training for the Olympics, not the Paralympics. So many people bullied him. He would stop in the middle of his test and just cry, but then his horse would keep going for him. And let's not forget, Nathan was blind. He was blind, and so not just autistic, but he could hear the people talking about him, and I'm choking up because he was doing a beautiful test, and I heard people from the power, instead of encouraging him in the open, they laughed at him so that he could
It's
hear
very
them.
sad, but perhaps reflective of the transition of times, because you mentioned to me that now it's different. Because I remember way back when I was young, my uncle, my mother's brother, he was disabled, Down syndrome, and I believe he was locked away in an asylum because
Yep, hide them.
they hid them. They didn't want to see them. They didn't want to associate. They were probably frightened because these people are different and we hadn't learnt to do that. So that must have been rather a difficult time. But you just kept going. What was it that kept
Well,
you both going?
the elite riders, at the time, Heath Ryan was the Australian leading coach, and he was also representative for the riders. And he advocated for bullies against bullies in the equestrian world, where you could get yellow tickets. The second one, you're out. But it still goes on.
Oh, yeah.
But what I said to Nathan is, it's like, is it Tommy the Tank Train?
Yeah.
Tommy.
When Tommy the Tank Train's going up the hill with his two carriages on, you've got all the good people sitting down being themselves and doing what they're supposed to be doing. You've got the naughty people up the back, but they can't handle the journey all the way up to the top, so they get off. And when you get up to the top, the rest is smooth sailing because you're up with the elite. You no longer associate, not by choice, but because they're not good enough to be up there with you.
And
If
isn't that so true? That is so true, Kim. Very true.
yeah,
And bullying happens in schools, in any club, doesn't it?
it does.
Really.
And we found that Nathan, and he opened up the Sunshine RDA, and we also represent RDA. He won the nationals. We always go and represent RTA and encourage the riders to get out and do what Nathan's doing. And he did an exhibition on his black stallion to Darth Vader from Star Wars.
Wow.
And it was absolutely beautiful with pirouettes, counter pirouettes, just a dancing duo. And there was another guy there entertaining, Guy McLean, who is very famous. He's such a good horseman. He, with one whip, can turn 6 horses and rotate in a circle and make them do things on the ground that we do on their back.
Wow.
Now, Nathan was over practicing in the dressage ring while Guy McLean was doing his show. And all the people looked over and saw Nathan practicing on Dom. They left him and went over to Dom to watch Dom practice.
Wow, that must have been a magnificent sight.
It was the most embarrassing time of my life. And then all the people that were disabled from every disability you can think of filled from one end of the dressage arena to the other. And the horse, Dom, went over to the kids in the wheelchair and put his head in their laps and went from one to the next, over the fence, all the way over the fence. His
There
head
are
was over the
some
fence.
really remarkable horses, like we'll think we've
They
got.
know.
They do.
They
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
because people with any, I call it special ability, if everybody's heart was like theirs,
Oh, yeah.
the life would be, our world would be in peace.
Now, you mentioned, well, we've talked about Nathan's rise. What has been a result of that rise with the gold medals and the recognition we were talking about?
Nathan's very humble. The only time he's taken his gold medals out was last week at a big conference.
We're going to tell him to.
CannaCon, where everyone from all over Australia, businesses come together and talk about the new things in Europe and keep up with overseas. And there's riding exhibitions, and everybody saw Nathan in his Australian. He wasn't even part of the show. He was in his Australian tracksuit and put his medals around his neck because he was representing a new sponsor that was at CannaCon. The media went for Nathan again and left all the other shows. And I was just standing there waiting to go and get something to eat. I was so hungry because it just amazes me. Everyone went over to him because they knew who he was. He's been in so many magazines. And also I'm hitting a current affair up soon because the last Special Olympics at Abu Dhabi was the biggest single Olympic ever held of the Olympics, Paralympics, and Special. Now, the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi that ran it, his son was autistic and he made sure it was a big show. Now, Nathan, I said, what was the most important thing? And he said, it wasn't winning the ribbons. It was walking into the arena with all my team, the swimmers, the footballers, everybody, and everyone else, and changing T-shirts with other countries, making friends from other countries.
Yeah.
They don't think about the glory. They think about the love and the joy. That's what's come from it. And because of that, A Current Affair has almost 24 coverage on the Paralympics. Channel 9, no one even took photos at any of the Special Olympic Games. So I'm hitting them up this one because whether Nathan goes or not, this one's at San Diego in Chile, and they deserve to be seen.
They do deserve to be seen, yes.
And they deserve the same as anyone else. They've got to work 10 times harder to get a 9 out of 10 for a dressage score, because those dressage judges don't lower the scores because they're blind.
So being blind, how do they navigate an arena on a horse?
Mathematic. Nathan knows how many meters there are between letters, and he knows how many trotting strides between the letters, how many counters, and how many walks. So if he gets one out, he's history. But
That in
now
itself means it's, I would imagine, far more difficult than just being able to see where your numbers are. And I mean, obviously the horse has the number of strides, but having to count the number of strides, remember the test and the pattern of the test, and all the aids to perform that would be
they're
right.
they're allowed to have callers.
Oh,
I
right.
call the test. But one thing you've got to remember is Paralympics and the Olympics ride their own horses. When Special Olympic riders go overseas, they have 2 days with a billeted horse before the competition.
Oh, right. Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Right.
I said to Nathan, most of the horses had been chosen, the larger horses in Abu Dhabi, and Nathan's 6'3". There are only the smaller ones. I said, up to my shoulders. I said, how did you pick which horse? He said, I waited for the one to come and put their head on my chest. And that horse tried its little heart out. And that's how he did it.
Oh, that is beautiful. That's that's a heart-wrenching story. Now, you mentioned sponsors. He's had some amazing sponsors and has amazing sponsors. Would you like to mention some of those sponsors and some of the things that he's received?
Oh, he's got so many. I'm scared of letting them out. He's got Equisage Australia, which is a big vibrating mat that goes over the horse's back and legs. He has Ariat, the brand Ariat for clothing and boots. He has a brand new name of a saddle from France. He's only just got this one, and it's spelled DEVOUCOUX. I don't know how to pronounce that.
So it's a beautiful saddle.
Oh, he has so many that they sponsor his jackets, his saddles, supplements, Wattle Lane stable supplements for the horses, polished ponies for Australia, supply all the shampoos and everything for the horses. There's just so many, and
I believe, sorry, Kim, right back earlier in the year, he was donated stables, beautiful stables. My gosh.
Two stables, not just normal size stables, extra large. He was donated to by M&S Stables. It just turned up with a truck and took half of my husband's shed, which he's not very happy about, and built 2 giant stables, and they're gone by lunchtime.
That's pretty kind of amazing for such a rocky, horrible start. So looking back, what have been the rewards of such a tumultuous, rocky journey?
Turning up to an event and seeing someone with Down syndrome, anyone with other special abilities starting out, because we've now got walk trot tests.
Oh, lovely.
And that allows them to come in and learn. There's also the Special Olympics where they can be led. I've seen one with cerebral palsy that was riding my horse because he was so quiet. This is about 30 years ago when I started RDA in Scone with Alex Herbert. And his name was Sid, my horse, and 16 hands tall. Held the record. Now, Danny, the little boy, couldn't sit up. He could only lay down. So I laid his head on a sheepskin and I had a flank rope around my horse, which normally makes them buck for rodeo. And I had his feet in a pair of clogs on a breastplate. And he was led in and won ribbons on my horse. The next time he trots on his own.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my most special. But Nathan has carved away for so many, especially one girl, Chelsea Spinks, I think her name was. I haven't seen her for a long time. She had a leg amputated as a baby, and a saddle company, Bates, built a saddle to accommodate her, and she is doing amazing. It's encouraging more and more riders. Yes, RDA is important to start with. Never forget them. Always go back to their events and compete with them, because you don't compete. There's different grades, so you it's even. And just I'm about to cry because
Okay.
the memory of these events
Yeah.
are beautiful. And to watch the horses. If the rider goes off course, the horse takes them back on course.
As I said, horses are just amazing, aren't they? Yes. So you must feel
When
very proud with your the subsequent achievement, which just evolved, of the paving of the way for others to follow, because I think that's really significant. And congratulations and accolades to you both, because
mainly, sorry, I don't mean to butt in, but if everybody looks up and supports Polished Ponies Australia, they campaign. They not just campaign, they are so strong against bullying in the equestrian world. In any sport, it's people should get on their Facebook and say thank you. It doesn't matter if it's any sport. It's they're amazing. It's just a one-man show, and he's not well himself, and started it because he was being bullied himself.
right, yeah.
And
But
now
going
it's
back
spread.
to the advocacy, whatever movement in society needs to be changed, there has to be those pioneers. And I'm looking at your story and Nathan's story and feeling that this is the role that you two have played in opening up the pathway for special ability people to come into the mainstream riding event.
You know why?
Yeah. Yes. And that's
Because the
incredible.
first time there's a at Caboolture, I asked if we could have a special event just for people with special abilities, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, blind. They said yes. We had a turn up of about 23 riders. They got bullied so much that day, no one ever came back.
Oh, that's really sad. Just quickly, because we need to keep moving, Kim.
Yeah.
Um, there is a special part of your story with your cancer and something you were telling me in one of our conversations about Nathan and how it really touched your heart because you told the story, how the roles changed for a little while there.
Nathan was fully reliant on me. I've had cancer since he was born. that just spreads from one place to another. But I also, that's not what's um, that's not what's killing me now. What's killing me is what's called polyarteritis nodosa with vasculitis and stenosis. It's clotting all of the arteries to my organs and shutting down one by one. I'm having
How
an
did?
amazingly good day.
Oh, you are.
But
Yeah.
when that happened, I got very ill and I couldn't even get out the door to the horses. I was not home from hospital for 4 months at one time. Nathan had no choice but to take over from what he's seen me do with the horses. He had no choice. He had to learn himself. I don't even have to instruct him anymore. He's a better rider than I ever was, ever.
And isn't that lovely how, because of a situation, the tide turns? That's a beautiful ending to
Well,
our story.
it used to be me. I
Yes.
rode at the Bond Cup. I Google Kim Harvey. I was everywhere. Now I'm nowhere. It's all Nathan Harvey. I'm Nathan Harvey's mum, which I'm proud of. And because when I'm in hospital, I heard the doctor say to Steph, I didn't know. I was supposedly unconscious, but I could hear
Oh,
the
yes.
doctor say, I would go home and get Nathan, which was 3 hours away, bring him down here because Kim won't make the night. No, give me a call. We will keep her comfortable until you get here. Well, I had the operation and I made it. And I heard what they said. And when I came out of anesthetic, I rang up Steph and he thought it was the doctor saying I'd passed away. I said, come and get me.
Kim, we're going to have
It's,
to stop there because your story is we've had your story and it is amazing. You know, how you've just gathered your strength and kept going. But we are running out of time, and I would
I
like to,
think it's Nathan's strength I come home and get onto and Steph's support.
yes, yeah, because there is a team behind it all. So thank you. I would just like to say many people hide the things that make life harder. You've helped Nathan achieve his dream of not hiding, and not only not hiding, but taking one's limitations to the limits and achieving massive success. Nathan and yourself and your team have paved the way for others to follow. Again, I extend my heartiest congratulations to you both and your team for the hard work and the consistent persistence at it. And folk, I look forward to sharing the story of another extraordinary ordinary women with you all. Thank you for joining us today.
Too
If you
much more to
enjoy,
say.
oh, there is so much more to say. If you
Yeah,
enjoy folk hearing the stories of ordinary women doing,
not just about Nathan and me. I've got lots of things I want to talk to you about extraordinary women I know, or I could even put you in contact with them. And if anyone has anyone with a child that wants to have a chance of going around the world in any sport, ballroom dancing, football, baseball, anything, contact me and I'll get them in.
awesome, thank you. So with heart, see you, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.